Hello guys, today I'm gonna be giving out my first CSS video tutorial. After this course, we are going to create something that looks like this using just HTML and CSS. See, this is the big screen view, and this is the phone view of it. You kind of look at it, but we are going to adjust it more. So we are going to be creating this after the tutorial. So I will teach you CSS, and after the CSS lesson we are going to learn how to create something that looks like this. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm in my folder that I just created. The folder is called CSS. So right now the first thing you have to do before following up this tutorial is to get Visual Studio Code. If you don't have it, you just go to Google, you search for Visual Studio Code. You see they will pop up with the option, and you can download it, either the iOS version or the Windows version, directly from Google. So right now I've installed Visual Studio Code on my machine. So what I'll be doing here is I'll just right click on an empty space. You see open with code, click on it, shows me a pop-up of the Visual Studio interface. So okay, now the first thing I want to do here is I would first of all want to create files. So you see this is the Visual Studio Code interface, and now here is where all your files and folder will be appearing right here. You can create new folders and new files directly from here. You're going to select this to create a new file, to create a new folder. So first of all, I want to create a new folder called index.html, and here is it. So now I'm going to teach you some basic stuff from CSS before we go into creating a Chatista interface. So first of all, I want to teach you some basic stuffs. The first thing is CSS selectors. So I might have a paragraph tag. If I type on P, I might have a P tag, and then lorem. I can say I want 10 lorem text in that paragraph tag. And now there are different ways by which you can declare you can actually select an HTML element to style it using CSS. There are three kinds of CSS styling. That you can do inline styling, where you style directly inside the paragraph tag, and if I want to style inside the paragraph tag from here, I'll change the color maybe to red. So you are going to see, if I open this with the live server, remember, if you don't have your live server, you navigate back to your folder and then click on index. Once you double click on the index, it's going to open your page. So for now, I have my live server installed. I have an extension called live server. If you don't have it, you install it directly from here. You come to the extension bar, you can see extension. You can search for any extension you want to download, and you easily download it from here. For now, I will use the live server extension. I right click right here, open with live server. It opens it for me. You can see starting. That means the live server is still starting up. It has pop up. So you see, this is the paragraph. It has a color of red. So let's look at another way. So what if you don't want to be doing this because it's quite stressful? I can come to the head tag and I include style. So when I include style, for me to select this P tag, this is a paragraph tag. For me to select the P tag, I use the selector P for the tag name, and I set the color to still be red, and definitely still going to be red. The most awesome thing about live server is you don't need to reload your page to see changes. The changes occur automatically. So now the next thing I want to do is I can have two paragraph tag. Let me set this one to lorem text of 10. and I want that this paragraph should have a different color and this paragraph should have a different color. So what do? I have to add another extra selector to it, and I will give a class to it. Now let me say class para1, and what I would do is, in CSS, if you want to select a paragraph, a tag by its last name, you will have to use the dot selector followed by the name of the class, and now you followed by the literal, this open and close curly bracket. So now I want to give a color red to the first paragraph, that's the first paragraph, and I want to give a color of yellow in the second paragraph. So in the second paragraph I'm going to give a color of yellow, and definitely the two colors will be different. This one is red, this one is yellow, and that's it. So now the next thing is selecting the element by its ID. So the thing about ID is, once you select an element by its ID, you cannot you cannot put that ID on different tags at the same time. It will only work on the first tag that you place the ID to it. Don't worry about that, we're understanding more further as we go ahead. So we have ID. I can set an ID to this para2. So this ID is unique to this tag, to this particular p tag. You cannot duplicate it. The only thing you can duplicate is the class. You can duplicate an element class name, but you cannot duplicate an element ID. So if I copy this, for you to select a p tag with an ID using CSS, you use hash and then you open and close bracket. Maybe I want to set the color to green. So you see, the first color is going to be green, and definitely the second color is going to be yellow. So that's the first thing. First thing we'll talk about CSS selectors. So now on the next session we're going to be talking about the box model. Welcome to the next. Now we're going to be talking about the CSS box model. The CSS box model is usually used to explain the concept of how shapes, how lists could be structured in an HTML document. So as you can see, we have structure that we used last time. So I want to create a bunch of lists, and on other lists I want to create about 4 list items. Sorry, star 4. So I want to create about 4 list items. Let me say this one is for about. This one is basically for contact. Get in touch, subscribe, so let's look at how it looks. This is how it looks. Normally it looks well structured. So now we want to display it in such a way that all the items will be displayed horizontally, not vertically actually. So what I will do is I'll come to my style, I'll select the element by tag name UL. Let me select the UL, and then the first line of code I'll use display flex. Display flex is just to display the parent elements in a horizontal manner. So if I open the browser, you're gonna see how it displays like this. It displays horizontally and they are overlapping with each other. That's why I'm gonna give them a gap. Of maybe 12 pixels. And as you can see, when I open it, the gap is automatically given to it. So I want to give it more gap, maybe to 22 pixels, and I think that's it. So the next thing is styling the list element. I would want to give the list element li padding. Padding is just to give an open space within the list. So I'll give a padding of maybe 12 pixels. It gives it an open space. So as you can see, this guy has a padding, this guy has a padding. So I never spell contact correctly. A. So now the next thing is I want to set the list style to known. So I don't want it to be numbering all the list items. So you can see this is it. So I would want to still set the font size. So now CSS units. In CSS we have pixels, we have rem, we have VH, we have VW. You get to choose what you want to use as you go ahead with the fonts. So I love using so I'll use 1.5 The next thing I want to add is font weight. Font weight I will set it to 400, and you get to see how it appears in a horizontal manner. So right now, let's say maybe we want to set in another functionality, and maybe we have a main tag. Within that main tag we have set of div tags. Mr. Star, you have 2 or 3 div tags. So let's start this div tags. Let's start the div tags. So I want to take the divs, so I'll cancel this code. I want to take a div. I'll give it a background color of white, of black, of black, and you get to see it doesn't appear because I've not given the height of maybe 20 VH. So you get to see all of it appearing. So now I want to take a main tag, which is the parent tag, and I want to give it a display of flex, and now the next thing I'd want to do is I'll give it a gap of 12 pixels, a width of 100%. Take the width of the entire page so you can see clearly how this counts. So I want to give the div tag a width of maybe 10% each. So if I remove this display flex right here, let me show you what will happen. You get to see it displaying like this. So I want to display horizontally. When I feed in the display flex, you get to see it displaying horizontally, as the boxes are displaying horizontally. And there are extra functionalities you can set on the boxes. Maybe you have a box, this box has a class of maybe box 1, and then this box has the class of box 2, and then this other box has the class of box 3. Let's say within the main tag, box 1 is going to occupy a flex position of 20%. Normally it's 100%, so let me share it evenly. That's for box 1. I'll copy, paste, and box 2. Call it Control Z. So I'll give box 3. This is box 2. So this one will occupy 40%. So 40 plus 20, that's 60. What's left is 40, so I'll give it around 40%, and I will give it a background of blue. I'll give blocks 2 a background of red. So you get to see, you see, normally we display flex within the main tag, and now we want to share it evenly within the main tag. So what the flex of 40% will do is it's going to take the width of the parent tag, which is 100%, and then share this 40%, share, and I give a share of 40% to this 100%, and this 20% is going to take a share from this 100% still, and they are going to display like this. So if you see, if I reduce these guys onto 20 to 20, if I swap 20 here, if I put 40 here, this guy is going to be way, box 1 is going to be way bigger than box 2. So you see, box 1 has become way bigger, box 2 way smaller, and you get to see how to share things evenly with display flex. So now I will not want to talk much about all of this, because we're gonna have a separate tutorial for CSS only. For now, I want us to be productive. Okay guys, let's go jump straight to building. So right here I have my style.css. It's already linked in the HTML file. As you can see, the style.css is quite empty. It's supposed to fit in style right there, but before fitting into styles, we need to design we need to give the structure to the HTML file. So we have to create a page that looks like this. So I've taught you guys some few CSS tricks, even though it's not really that enough, but we'll create something like this, and we're going to be using some of those tricks and some other advanced tricks. So right now, the first thing I want to create here is a header. It's a header with an ID of header. Next thing, I want to create an image. The image source is right here. You can put your own image source. Make sure it's in the same folder you're working with. So I want to create a navbar, a nav with an ID of navbar. Okay. The next thing, I want to create a URL on ordered list. List item A. I want to create an A tag with an ID of nav link. And now we can set in some certain functionality here. We can set in some text here, home. So I want to copy this and paste it multiple times. The thing 4 times, okay. Contact, about. So I'm going to say incur and E right there. So now the next thing, I'm done with the header. Next thing, I want to create another tag called main. Inside the main, we'll have a section with an ID of features. So we'll create an H1 within here, inside here. This H1 wants to give it the default lorem text of maybe 10. Okay, 10 is too much, and reduce it to this. So next, create a p tag lorem. We'll give a lorem text right there. Then, so next I'll create a div. Okay, within the section I'll create a div tag with a class of flex content, and now I'll create another div tag with a class of feature item. So create h3 tag, give lorem of 3 text, 3 sentence, 3 words, and create a p tag. I'll give a long text of 10 words. Now done with the first feature item. So I want to copy this feature item and paste here. I paste it 3 times. Paste it right there. Paste it 2 times. Sorry. So there is it. The next we'll create another section again within the main tag. We'll create another section with an ID of about. Now h2 tag, so say section, sorry, about. Now in the section we have an h2 lorem forwards, and create a p tag lorem 10 words, and I want to copy an iframe. Iframe should be an iframe of my YouTube has loaded, so I'll search for view dash network and search. Okay, there is my channel. So I'm gonna choose one of these videos. I'll choose the first. There is a YouTube video. My YouTube video, I will click on share. I wait for it to load, and I click on the embed, and there is what I'll copy it, and I'll paste it right here, and let's see how the page looks like. That's how the page looks like. So let's see. Now let's see. We're going to give an ID of video right here, and I would remove some things like this right here. And then next, within the main, I want to create another section, called contact. This section will contain the contact form. So we'll say h2 lorem 3 p lorem 7. We'll use the form. Get the form. So give the form an ID of form. And we're going to create the first input tag, the ID, will be email, name, email, placeholder, enter your name, and required just to tell the user that you don't have to go to the next if you have not entered that field. Next simple field will be type of submit. Value I want to restore my harmony. Now next I'm going to do the CSS. So we have generally structured the HTML. Next thing now is to do the CSS. As you can see, this is how the HTML looks like, and here is the iframe video. It will display right here. And now let's give some structure into this page using some CSS. So before I go to the CSS, we have to go to Google. The first thing I will search for is Google Fonts. Search for Google Fonts. Search for it, and you will get me the first ever link. I click on it. I would want to select Roboto. I'll look for Roboto first. So I'll click on get font, embedded code, and here I'll import it into CSS. So I'll copy this first line, paste it right here. Now I'll go back. So the first thing has been done. Next, I would want to set in my colors. I've set up my colors. I love my colors when I use them in the code folder. So here are my colors right here. You find it in the directory. So I'll copy all of these colors, I'll paste it right here. So these are the colors I'll be using for this project. So you take your time, copy it, and you get to see how it look interesting in your project. So now I will use a general selector like star. So I'll set the margin to 0. That's because I don't want this default margin and padding given by the browser, and when I set in the margin 0, it removes it for me. So I can set in the padding, take the padding to 0. I'll take the next one, box sizing, border box, just to make it properly interface. I'll set the font family Roboto sans serif, which is from Google Fonts. Screw behavior, set the screw behavior smooth screw behavior smooth. Yes. Now the next thing I want to do, you can see from that code you remove totally all the margin provided by the browser. So let's see, the next code will be for the body. So I'll set styles for the body, and I'll set the background color to a variable, space, and space background. This space background is coming from the root folder. So in the root folder, I've just picked up this background to give it to the body. And now the next thing, the color, will be a variable called star color. star color. So there is it right there. I'll set the line height. Oh, sorry. Line height of 1.6. Line height of each text 1.6. Position relative. I'll set the overflow X. It shouldn't scroll to the left. No matter what, I'll set the overflow X. It shouldn't scroll to the left. No matter what, I'll set it to hidden. And next, body. Set the body before. Give some styles to that. Before contents should be now, and position should be fixed. So we're going to see how this will look like. So you can see we have a background. I think let's continue with this. Position fixed. The top to 0, the left to 0, the weight to 100%, the height to 100%, the background image is gonna be a radial region of #FFFF. So sorry, 1 pixel, transparent, 1 pixel, 1 pixel, transparent, 1 pixel. Sorry, this one is not supposed to be. And it's supposed to be like that. So we're going to have 1 pixel. So I'm going to copy this and I'll paste it over again right here. And if I open the page, you guys, let me do some extra styling to it. Set the background size to 50 pixels. That's 50 pixels. Set the opacity to 0.3. Set the Z index to -1. My highly good display right now we have this awesome display. The dots inside here, the awesome dots, it look good. So now let's see extra stuff that we can do. So basically what we did here is we created small circles. Remember, we are dealing with a radial gradient, and those small circles, we have a background, a linear gradient of white, a color of white, and the dots will be 1 pixels, and you're gonna be transparent, and you're gonna be 1 pixel. So this code literally gives it that dot nature. As you can see on the page, we have dots everywhere. So it's awesome. So now let's move to the next thing. Let's start the header now. So the header, we're going to start the first thing, which is the header. Remember, the header has an ID of header. So I'll just copy this and I'll paste it here. Sorry, and move that. I'll paste it right here, and I'll leave a style. I'll set display reflex. So if I open this, you get to see that this background image and this are displaying horizontally, and that list they're displaying horizontally. So display to flex. Next one, justify content, space between. align items, center. So let's see, justifying content, space between. You see space between, you set the item and we need the space between the elements in the tag. So the header tag occupies the whole page, so space between occupies this side and this side. So you can see, let's move to the next. We're going to do the background. I'm going to set the background to a variable called nebula background. Don't mind my names, just you can use your own names. Somehow I'll set the color into a var star color. So here it is. So the next, I want to set the color, the padding, I want to set the padding to 15 pixels. At least it should leave the corners of the page and then draw to the center of the page, 40 pixels. So you can see it gives a space from here to here, and then the nebula background is this top background right here. So as you can see, we have to adjust this also. We're going to adjust it. So we have a position of the entire header to be fixed. It shouldn't disrupt, it shouldn't shake. So we're going to set the top to 0. We set the Z index to 100, 1000. So you get to see that most often. So I'm going to adjust it a bit. So we have a box shadow 0, 10 pixels, 20 pixels, RGBA. You get to see 0, 0, 0. It's just to give a dimming background, 0.3. So you get to see a dim background. So this case is not supposed to be there. So I have a dim background. Now I'll set the backdrop filter. Back drop. We'll have backdrop filter. Let's see. It's going to be blur, and that blurriness should be 10 pixels thick. So okay, let's look how the page looks like. We still have it displaying here. The next thing I want to do is I want to set the width. I want to increase the width a little bit. The width should be 100%. I think it looks good right now. So the next thing we want to start is the header image. We want to set it to the right position. So header image RMG, and remember here is the header image right here. So we're to select the ID. Oh, we didn't give an ID. Header IMG. So I'll copy this and I'll paste it right here. Attach this. So next we're going to set in a height of 60 pixels and a filter brightness to 1.2 and contrast to 1.2 still. So you get to see how it looks. So next thing, we're going to have hash nav bar. So we're selecting the nav bar, which is the next step. So we're hash nav bar, selecting the ID of nav bar, hash nav bar UL. We're going to have a display flex. We're displaying the list item to flex, and we'll set the list style to none. We set the align items, so we're going to align items to center. So you get to see the list items displaying flex. So we need to adjust it. So we'll have a reverse. We're going to start the reverse nav link. We'll have a color of var star color. We'll have a text decoration. I'm going to set text decoration of none. Next, we're going to have a font family. This font family is provided by Google Fonts. So we have Obitron sans serif. So the next, we have font weight of 500. We'll have a margin of 15 pixels. We'll have a transition all 0.3 seconds. Ease in and out. We're going to have a position. Relative. So we're going to have a text transform to uppercase. Set everything. The first letters of every word should be a capital letter. We're going to have a letter spacing of 1 pixels. So now let's see how it looks. We have the text. I think it looks good with the background image right here. So now the next thing is to style in the other contents in the body, and before we do that, let's add an extra style into the nav link. Let's see the nav link after contents to this position, absolute width 0, height of 2 pixels, bottom to negative 5 pixels. Going to have a left of 0. Going to have a background color of star color. So next we're going to have a transition still of width. We're going to transit the width 0.3 seconds each. So let's see what that does. And let's move to the next. Let's start the over. Let's give it over to the after. Let's say .nav link over, after, with 100%. Now let's give a rubber effect to the knuckling. So you're gonna see what that will do to the pitch. We'll give a rubber. The color should be an electric. Should be electric blue. So now the next one will transform it to a scale. Transform it to a scale of 1.05. So there is it. If I hover it, it's gonna give that. Now the next thing is let's see. The next thing is I would want to change the color a bit. Now I want to change the color to a different color. So I'm going to come to my color space and just look for a way to change the electric blue color to something a bit more lighter. So if I hover it, it's going to give me this display, and I don't think that's a good color still. So I'll give a color this. So we're going to have, oh sorry, so that electric blue. To change electric blue, I changed different thing. So let's see, we have this. I think it looks good now. Now literally what we just did there was we came here. That's after the nav link. We're going to be creating a specific line, and that line will be coming up magically. So that line will have a width, an initial width of 0. It's gonna have a height of 2 pixels, and the line will be coming that's beside the nav link content. So now it will have a bottom. Will have a bottom of -5 pixels, left 0, and that will send it to the left, and the background color will be white. Now the transition is going to be given to the width. Remember, we are changing the width. The width initially is 0, and I've taken the width from here, and I'm transitioning on the width to 0.3 seconds each. And now after you hover over the nav link, you're gonna have a width of 100% given to this specific line with this color. So that's why you see, and here we're scaling the contents of the nav link. That's the text on the nav link. So that's why you see when you hover over it, you have this line just popping up, somehow. So that's what causes the line to pop up from the left. So let's go to the next. Okay, now we are done styling the nav bar. Now let's start with the features content. Let's start the features and the about. You remember this, right? And let's start the contact, and each of these is supposed to have a comma separating them from themselves, so we're going to have a comma like that. Next we're going to have a padding of 120 pixels, 40 pixels. We're going to have a text alignment, text alignment of center, position, relative, overflow, of hidden. Now let's see what we've just done. We have set all the contents to center, all the features contents, and it going to the center is because of the padding we set from 120 to 40 pixels. If I comment this, you will see that the contents will not be well aligned. They will be in center, but at the same time they are not going to be, not going to have spaces between them. So that's why we are going to be setting this. And text align to center. If I remove it, you're gonna see what's gonna happen. All the all the contents have been aligned to the left by default. So text align just adjusts the text to move to the center. So you see we are almost there. Now the next thing, we would like to start the flex content, the feature item. Let me see the HTML structure. So we're going to start the feature item, which is this. I'll just copy this from here. I'm having troubles remembering it, so I'll copy it from here, paste it, and use it. So I'll set the background. I set the background to RGBA. RGBA, and this time I'm going to be setting a new color, comma 255, comma, you can always be creative with just 255, comma 0.05. So let's see the color I just created. This amazing color. So now let's adjust some few things. Border radius, so I'm going to set the border radius right there to 15 pixels, and I'll set the padding right there to 30 pixels. You get the flex, so I'll get a flex of 1, and calculate. Get a calculator weight of 33.33%. So what this is going to do is going to take after 33.33% of whatever comes after this feature item. This feature item is going to, we're going to push it a bit downward. So let me just do it so that you see how and what is going to happen after doing it. So you see, let's do more things in that. Let's give a border. I'll give a border of 1 pixels, solid RGBA 255. So I'm just going to copy this, paste it right here, and I'll change this one. Maybe I'll put 0.1 somehow, and then the next thing, I'm to give a backdrop filter. I love that backdrop filter. I'll give backdrop filter of blur. I'll blur it to 10 pixels, and I'll give a transition to it. Transition all 1.4 seconds is now position relative. I'll give an overflow to hidden, whether left or right. You shouldn't scroll. Give overflow to hidden. So we're getting somewhere. So let's see. We're going to have the feature item before. We're going to have a content right there will be blank. Position. Absolute. Going to have a top of negative 50%. Left negative 50%. Width of 200%. Height of 200%. Now next we're going to have a background. Most importantly, we'll have a gradient, we'll have a circle, maybe a circle at center, RGBA. So we'll have 106.27 154 0.2 into 0.2, and now we're going to have transparent around transparent 58%. So at circle at center and try to come right there. So now let's see. Let's do more stuffs and see how interesting that gets. So next we're going to transform. Rotate to negative 45 degree. Z index -1. So now you see we have this awesome display right there at the background. Now let's see. We have a feature. We're gonna have feature item over feature item. We're gonna have an over effect, transform, translate Y, negative 10 pixels, box shadow of 0, 15 pixels, 30 pixels, RGBA RGBA in bracket 106. We have 27. We have 154. And lastly, we have 0.3. Very awesome. So now let's open and see. So if you hover over it, you have this awesome display. So now let's focus on styling it more. Start the other stuff, the about section, about, background. The background is going to be an RGBA 0.3. So let's see. Let's see from here. Next thing I want you to get in touch with in order to start. Okay, the next thing I want to get in touch with and how to start is the flex container. Let's see whether I design the flex container. So the next thing I want to design the flex container. Let me see. Let's go to the index.html. Let's see. We have flex content. She's right here. Let me copy this, and I want to start it right here. So I'll have that flex content. We'll have display flex. We'll have justify content, space between. We'll have a gap, 30 pixels, flex wrap, set it to wrap. We'll have margin, top, 40 pixels. So you see we're going to have everything totally handled. So from here, flex content. So I'll copy it from here, paste it right there. Therefore when I open the page, I shall have a display like this on the flex. So you get to see this. It looks awesome now. We have the page looks quite good. The project, so we're working with HTML, CSS only. So now let's work on the next section, which is the about section. So let's work on it a bit. So I would want to take the about section. I've given the background color on its own. Now I want to start the video, a iframe video we copied from YouTube. So I will set the max width. Max width mostly goes in order for the content to display good on a small screen somehow, no matter how you place it on the big screen. So I will max width to that with 100%. Well, border radius 15 pixels. Going to have a margin top 30 pixels. We'll have a box shadow of 0, 15 pixels, 30 pixels. No, no comma, sorry. So we'll have the RGBA 0.4. Let's take this one. Now let's change this one to 0.4 somehow. So the next we'll have a border. We'll set a border. We'll set a border of 2 pixels solid, variable to vibrant purple. So I think that's basically the next. We're going to have the contact. So let's see how that one look like on the page. You get to see this. Looks awesome. The next thing, I want to set the height somehow. I want to give it a height of maybe 400 pixels. So if you come at this section, you get to see the video, you get to see this, you get to see the video, YouTube video, and you get to see this. Let's start this man. Doesn't look good. So get the contact, set the background to linear gradient, 450 degrees, 45 degrees. We'll take a variable, deep purple. We'll take another variable, cosmic purple. And there we go. We have the next to start, which is a form. So let's start the form. Look good. So we have a display, flex direction, column. We have a gap, 20 pixels. We have max width of 500 pixels. We have a margin of 0, and also we have a background and RGBA. Let's take this. I think that will be perfect. Next one, padding. Setting the padding to 40 pixels. We have a border radius. I'll be setting the border radius somehow. And now let's see how it looks. So far so good. How far have we gone? This is the first look. So we'll have to set in the border radius there to 15 pixels. So I'll set in a backdrop filter to blur. I'm gonna blur it to 18 pixels to make it more blur. So I'll have a border of 1 pixel solid, RGBA. We have 225 this. I think that will be good, but I want to set it to 0.2. You get to see this display. This is the border radius. So let's see. Let's style the form. Input. of the padding, 15 pixels, background, setting the background of RGBA 2.3, border, setting the border 1 pixels, solid variable, vibrant, purple. Now we get the next border radius of 8 pixels, of the color, variable of star color, transition, all 0.3 seconds each. So let's see. Okay, that's the first view. Now let's say the form input. Let's set the focus, outline, node, border color, variable, electric blue, and we have a box shadow of 0, 15 pixels, variable accent, I think accent glow is gonna be good for that. Setting an autofocus. You see what the focus does, and box shadow too. And there is a box shadow right there. And let's see. We got more amazing stuff on it. So I'll want to come to the form right there. I'll set in an ID, submit. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy out. Set the background to the variable, nebula background, nebula gradient, setting the color of variable, star color, set in another font family, setting a font family of Obitron, sans serif. We have font weight, bold, border, node, padding, 15 pixels, border radius 8 pixels, cursor, pointer, text transform, uppercase, and we have letter spacing to 1 pixels. We have the transition, all 0.3 seconds each. So let's see, and there we go. Here we have is how it looks like. So let's look at how to make it look more interesting. Now the next setting submit. I want to set in an over effect to that. So I'll transform translate y to negative 5 pixels. Next I'm going to set in a box shadow of 0, 10 pixels and 20 pixels. RGBA 0.3. I think that's good. So we're now done with it. So now let's look at how it looks like on a small screen. As a big screen view, it looks cool. Now let's see. Here's how it looks on the big screen. Now it looks on the big screen, it looks good. Now to make it more responsive, let's see how it looks on a small screen. The picture screen view is kind of horrible, so I have to adjust it. So within the code, we're gonna adjust it. So I'll use media screen and max width of 768 pixels. It's supposed to be like that. So we'll have the header, flex direction, column, padding 515 pixels. So let's see. You get to see these when you're on a small screen. This is the big screen view of the header. The small screen view of the header looks like this. Now we have to adjust these contents in order for them to display good. So the other things I want to do, I would want to take the nav link margin 10 pixels 0. See how it looks. Oh no, I don't think there's a need to add that, so I think it's quite okay that way. So the next thing we want to do anyway is take the nothing, see the margin top 12 pixels. Yeah, and let's go that way. Margin top. Okay, so now we have to do, we put the flex content, flex direction, column. So you get to see the content of this thing as this. And looks good. And there we go. Next, we're gonna have the flex item. picture item. One, 100%. Oh, sorry. X direction. 100%. All the contents. Okay. Right now, next would add a keyframe to make an animation. The identifier is going to be a star, twinkle. So we're gonna have 0%, 100%. The opacity 0.7. We have 50%. The opacity of 1. So now we'll have the body. We're gonna set in the animation to the body before. So animation will be star, twinkle. Animation is gonna be this. So I'll copy this, paste it right there. Start twinkles 3 seconds. Infinite. Alternate. So let's see. So we're done with the page right now. This is how it looks like. Hope you like it. So here's a small screen view of it. Small screen view of the entire page. And this is the laptop view of it. If you like it, subscribe, comment, and share. You got to hit the bell button, subscribe, and comment for more. And we're gonna be giving you tutorials back to back. Welcome to another version of tutorials by the Vidas Network. Thank you.